Hi, Todd Martin here, and welcome to this introductory lesson to the Tango code. If you're already familiar with this channel, you'll know that I have typically been focusing on the walking code and to a lesser extent the Tai Chi code. These codes explain how the three elements of the core are used to perform functional body movement with upright, aligned posture. Now you might ask, what is the difference between the walking code, the Tai Chi code, and the Tango code? Well, the fact is, there is no difference. We use the same fundamental principles of core movement when we're performing any of these types of activities. By using the code, we can define the precise mechanics of lead and follow for all of the various movements in the Argentine Tango. Now let me introduce my wife, Belle, who's going to assist me.
Hello everyone, it's delightful to be here today. Thank you for joining us.
So, when we talk about the three elements of the core, we're talking about what I refer to as the direction, which is the rotation from the upper part of the waist, the root, which is how we root our legs with the lower abs or the lower portion of the waist, and the power, how we power our movements with either hip flexion or hip extension. When we form an embrace with a partner in the tango, or for that matter, any other dance, we're forming a connection, and the code is going to apply to both partners. Let's first look at the direction. The direction is going to be either clockwise or counterclockwise rotation from the upper part of the waist. When I turn my body counterclockwise, meaning forward from the right side of the upper portion of my waist, Belle turns forward on her right side, so also turning counterclockwise. So this motion is a constant. We are rotating together in the upper part of the waist. That is determining the direction. Now we have our root. Our root is going to be determined by the rotation from the lower abs, which is going to either root my right leg or root my left leg. When I rotate my lower abs, it's going to connect directly to my partner and cause her to rotate her lower abs. Now, contrast with the way our upper abdominal muscles work, where we're both turning in the same direction. The lower abdominal rooting works almost like a gear, where we're going to turn in opposite directions. When I turn backwards to the right to root my right leg, she is going to do the opposite and turn backwards on her left, rooting her left leg. And so, like I said, it forms like a gear motion. And so you can see, as I shift to my right, she shifts to her left. When I shift to my left, she shifts to her right. She's following my lower abdominal rotation. And that's how, in a lead and follow dance, we end up being on the correct foot. So I can free up her right leg if I plan to make a movement. Or I can free up her left leg if I want to make a movement. This is how she knows what foot she's supposed to be on. It is a direct connection between the core. The third element of the core that we use is going to be our hip joints. We're either going to be flexing or extending the hip when we do any motion. And we're only using one hip to power each of the movements. I'm going to give you an example. When I shift my weight to my left leg, I'm going to be flexing my right hip, and she'll be flexing her left hip. And then I'm going to step back by extending my right hip, and she's going to extend her left foot by extending her left hip. The movement is going to be precisely coordinated. It's not that she's going to feel me push or pull her and then respond after. The connection of the core occurs simultaneously, so as soon as I begin to extend my hip, she's going to begin extending her hip. They occur simultaneous, not one after the other. And so this applies to all of our movements in the tango. So as we move through different lessons, we're going to show you how to perform various movements in the tango and how the core elements are going to be used precisely in each one of those movements. Just to do a little further explanation of the frame and a little bit about the style that we're dancing, because there are a lot of variations out there in the tango community, we are using a close embrace frame, meaning that we are completely connected from the top and then all the way to the bottom with vertical posture. So this will vary from other different styles where they might have a more tent-like frame connected at the chest and separated at the bottom. We're going to be completely vertical. The frame is going to be close, but not in the sense that some people might describe close embrace or milonguero style tango. This embrace will develop different angles and perhaps different distance from the partner naturally based on the movements of the core, not based on trying to artificially separate into what people would call an open embrace. So we are going to be dancing all the time, all steps, in the same embrace, which I'm not going to change, but the angle will change as I do various movements. But we're always going to end up coming back to the same embrace because I haven't changed it despite whatever the movement is and however much opening happened while we might be doing twisting motions.
And in some ways it's considered salon, so that's another way you might want to think of it. Some people use that terminology for this particular embrace as salon style, so that way you have something to reference to.
The other part of this style that we do is also going to be that the man, not just the woman, is going to be, or the leader, not just the follower, is going to be placing on the ball of the foot all the time. Most other styles you see a lot of heel placement. In this style, every step is going to be ball first from the leader, and that is based on the natural movements coming from the core and not simply an artificial desire to step on the ball. I mentioned that the Tai Chi code, the Tango code, and the walking code were all the same, but there is a slight difference. In Tai Chi and in walking, our rotation is always only forward on one side or the other. We never are pulling back with the upper back muscles. So that contrasts with tango, where there are movements where we twist, meaning we turn forward with one side of the upper portion of the waist and back with the upper back muscles at the same time to perform a twisting action. That gives us the opportunity to do movements like this, where we are twisting around. So it requires a full twist of the upper part of the torso rather than just curving like this. The reason there is this difference in Tai Chi, which also has thousands of variations, is that in Tai Chi we always have to have our arms in front of the body because it is a martial art and you don't want to be opening up your body to an attacker. That differs from tango, where it is a dance and we do more twisting actions. So I just want to clarify that is the one specific difference between the tango code and the other two codes. I also want to explain the difference between parallel system and cross system in the tango. In parallel system, when I step with my left leg, she is going to step with her right leg, and vice versa. When we are in cross system, when I step with my left leg, she is going to step with her left leg. To get into cross system, I need to do something called cheating, which is I have her suspended and I shift my weight when she is unable to shift her weight, and then we can step off where she is moving her left leg and I'm moving my left leg at the same time. The difference in the direction, root, power patterns in cross system is that the direction and the root are going to be the same, but the hip action is going to be on the same side. When I flex my left hip or extend my left hip, she will be flexing or extending her left hip also. So that is part of the nature of the tango and of the embrace. And so you're going to see that throughout the various movements as we go forward.